Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we have the big UFC Freedom 250 Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje at the White House. Let's get straight into it with the predictions. First fight on the card we have is Diego Lopes versus Steve Garcia. Diego Lopes is 27-8 and his last fight was against Alexander Volkanovski where he got a decision loss. Steve Garcia is 19-5 and his last fight was against David Onama where he got a TKO in the first round and won that fight. Now let's get into my thoughts of this fight. Garcia will likely come out fast trying to land heavy shots early and turn this into a brawl. Lopes will need to stay composed, avoid getting backed into the fence and look for counters or grappling entries. Round 2, this is where my pick will start to make a lot of sense. Lopez's durability, timing, and submission threat becomes more dangerous as Garcia's output naturally slows. If Lopes gets scrambles or top position, he can start chaining attacks quickly. I think the finish potential, Lopes is one of the most creative finishers in the division. Whether it's a submission in the transitions or a striking finish after breaking rhythm, he has multiple ways to end it once Garcia is forced out of his comfort zone. But I'm going to go with Diego Lopes. I think Diego Lopes will win this, and I think he's going to win by TKO in the second round. I think once he survives the early power of Garcia, his grappling pressure and creative finishing ability take over for his mid-fight stoppage. So yeah, Diego Lopes by TKO in the second round here. Next fight on the card we have is Bo Nickel versus Kyle Daukaus. Bo Nickel is 8-1 and his last fight was against Rodolfo Vieira where he got a TKO in the third round and won that fight. Kyle Daukaus is 17-4 and his last fight was against Gerald Meerschaert where he got a submission in the first round and won that fight. Round 1, I think Nickel will almost certainly try to impose his wrestling early, pushing Daukaus to the cage and looking for takedowns. Daukaus is dangerous in scrambles and submissions, so early grappling exchanges could be risky if Nickel is careless. Round 2, if Nickel establishes control, this is where he starts to separate his top pressure, strength and ability to keep opponents pinned. Can limit Daukaus' submission threats over time. Round 3, cardio and composure matter most here. Nickel's path is clear, control, takedowns, top good time, and avoiding risky exchanges. Daukaus would need a submission or a scramble to steal it. By my prediction, I'm going to go with Bo Nickel by decision. I think dominant wrestling, positional control, and pace management allow him to outwork Daukaus over 3 rounds, but yeah, I do have Bo Nickel by decision here. Next fight on the card we have is Mauricio Huffy versus Michael Chandler. Mauricio Huffy is 13-2 and his last fight was against Rafael Fiziev where he got a TKO in the second round and won that fight. And Michael Chandler is 23-10 and his last fight was against Paddy Pimblett where he lost by TKO by the third round. Now let's get into the fight. Round 1, this is the chaos waiting to happen. Chandler will come out fast, trying to blitz, wrestle, and brawl immediately. Rufy will likely look to time counters and capitalize on Chandler's forward pressure. Both fighters are at their most dangerous here. This is the highest risk round for either man. Round 2, if it gets here, Rufy's cleaner striking and timing could start to take over. Chandler's style is very energy intensive, and if he doesn't get an early breakthrough, openings start appearing. I think in terms of the style clash, Chandler's aggression can walk him into counters, and Rufy has sharpness to punish that early. But Chandler also has the legitimate one-shot power and wrestling threats that make every exchange dangerous. But I'm going to go with Mauricio Huffy by KO in the first round. I think precise timing and explosive counter, a strike can capitalize on Chandler early, aggression for a fast finish. I think Rufy's going to get a massive win here against Michael Chandler. I think Rufy's going to knock him out cold, and it's going to be a great win for him. Next fight on the card, we have Derek Lewis versus Josh Hockett. Derek Lewis is 29-13, and his last fight was against Waldo Cortez Acosta, where he got a TKO in the second round and lost that fight. Josh Hockett is 9-0, and his last fight was against Curtis Blades, where he got a decision win. Round 1, Lewis is always dangerous early. One clear shot changes everything. Hockett's safest path is immediately closing distance, clinching and trying to neutralize Lewis's power by forcing grappling exchanges. Round 2, if Hockett survives the early danger, his wrestling pressure and pace could start to wear Lewis down. Lewis tends to slow if he's forced to defend takedowns and carry weight. This is where sustained grappling pressure could open up with damage opportunities. I think Hockett's path is very clear: chain wrestling, top pressure, and ground and pound accumulation. Lewis's path is also very simple but brutal, one counter punch at any time. But I am going to go with Josh Hockett by TKO in the second round. I think relentless pressure and accumulated ground damage break Lewis down after surviving the early knockout threat. So I'm going to go with Josh Hockett by TKO in the second round here. Next fight on the card, we have Sean O'Malley versus Aiemann Zahabi. Sean O'Malley is 19-3 in his last fight was against Song Yadong, where he got a decision win. Aiemann Zahabi is 14-2 in his last fight was against Marlon Vera, where he got a decision win. Round 1, O'Malley will likely try to establish range immediately. Feints, long strikes, and counters timing. Zahabi's safest approach is to stay disciplined, avoid early overcommitments, and try to disrupt rhythm without getting drawn into exchanges. Round 2, if Zahabi survives the early reads, he may find some success timing counters and pressure bursts. However, if O'Malley tends to make key adjustments quickly once he's seen his opponent's reactions. Finish potential. O'Malley is finding an early read and clean and landing clean before Zahabi settles. Zahabi's style was more defensive and measured, which can limit chaos, and he always starts really slow, Zahabi. But O'Malley's precision and timing give him clear finishing upside early. So I'm going to go with Sean O'Malley by TKO in the first round. I think he's going to do an amazing TKO here. Elite accuracy, early reads, and sharp counter striking leads to a fast finish before Zahabi can surely settle in. I think, like I said, Zahabi starts, he's a slow starter. Sean O'Malley can blitz through. He can bam, 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 done, gone. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think Sean O'Malley will win and get that belt back. But, I'm looking forward to that fight. Now for a co-main event, a banger of a fight. Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane for the UFC Interim Heavyweight Championship. Alex Pereira is 13-3 and his last fight was against Magomed Ankalaev, where he won by TKO in the first round and won that fight. Cyril Gane is 13-2 and his last fight was against Tom Aspinall, where that was a no contest in the first round. Rounds 1-2, Gane's best chance here. He'll look to control range, stay light on his feet, and avoid being trapped against the cage. Pereira will be a patient early reading, timing and looking for openings rather than forcing exchanges. Rounds 3-4, this is where Gane slows slightly or becomes more stationary. Pereira's pressure and precision starts to matter more. Small defensive mistakes at range or near the fence become dangerous. Round 5, if it gets here, both men are fatigued, but Pereira's finishing instincts remain elite, especially if he has been landing leg kicks and straight lefts consistently. But I am going to go with Alex Pereira by TKO in the fourth round. Sustained pressure, leg damage, and elite timing eventually break down Gane for a late stoppage. Now for the main event we have is Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje for the UFC Lightweight Championship. Ilia Topuria is 17-0 and his last fight was against Charles Oliveira. Goddamn, that was ages ago. Charles Oliveira by TKO in the first round, and he won that fight. Justin Gaethje is 27-5 and his last fight was against Paddy Pimblett, where he got a decision win. Round 1, Gaethje will push forward immediately, looking to make a high-intensity war. Topuria will likely start more measured, reading timing and looking for counter opportunities. This is the most dangerous round for both Gaethje's pressure versus Topuria's precision. Round 2, this is where my pick becomes realistic. If Topuria has timed Gaethje's entries, his counters, especially the right hand and hooks, become extremely dangerous. Gaethje's style naturally creates openings. If it gets rounds 3 to 5, if it gets there, Gaethje's durability and volume keep him competitive, but he absorbs damage. Topuria's accuracy and composure becomes increasingly important as fatigue sets in. Now for my prediction, I'm going to go with Ilia Topuria by KO in the second round. I think elite timing, counterboxing, and precision power catch Gaethje during forward pressure exchanges for a mid-fight finish. So I'm going to go with Ilia Topuria by KO in the second round. I think Justin Gaethje, yeah, he does have a chance because it's Justin fucking Gaethje. But I think it's going to be the new generation of Ilia Topuria. The new face of this UFC company. So yeah, Ilia Topuria by KO in the second round. That is my prediction. Thank you for watching my predictions for UFC Freedom 250, Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje at the White House. Thank you for watching my predictions. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel. It will be a massive help. Thank you for watching. Take care. Goodbye.